this week's tip and technique video. Today I'm going to show you how I stitch two-handed on our Easy Stitch scroll frames. I'm going to show you several different sizes of scroll frames, how I hold them, and how I'm able to stitch. So let's jump right in. First, I have our 6-inch. Now, you can stitch two-handed on pretty much any size of scroll frame, whether it be the 6-inch, which is our smallest, all the way up to the 48-inch. And I'll show you how I can stitch with them in hand or either on legs or on our floor stand. So for me, I will hold it up against myself. I stitch with my left hand on top and my right hand on bottom. It really doesn't matter which way you stitch, you know, which hand's on top, which hand's on bottom, whatever is most comfortable for you. To me, this is very uncomfortable. This feels very comfortable and, you know, normal to me. But again, you know, play with it until you see which way is most comfortable. Now, as many of you know, I have fibromyalgia. So any extra movement I have to do is like, the minimal I can do is way better. So a stick and stab where I'm going like this, I'd only be able to stitch for 10-15 minutes before my arm would be killing me. When stitching two-handed, you know, my arms barely move and I can stitch much, much longer. So let me show you. Okay, so when working on the 8-inch here, you know, I'm not going to really be stitching any pattern. I'm just going to be showing you how I hold it while I'm stitching. So, you know, when my bottom hand is stitching, I'm holding the frame with my top hand. When my top hand is stitching, I'm holding the frame with my bottom hand. One of the biggest benefits of a scroll frame, besides tension, because, you know, I love my super tight tension, is that now your hands are no longer touching the fabric. Your hands are touching the frame. So you can keep your fabric nice and clean, and it won't, you know, because what makes your fabric dirty over time isn't necessarily dirt, it's your hand oils. And it'll make it yellow. So now that my hands aren't touching the frame, they're touching, or the fabric, they're touching the frame, that is perfect, especially for hand dyed. So you can see one hand will hold the frame while the other hand stitches and vice versa. Now you can see that my stitches again are going straight up and straight down instead of being pulled to the side. So there's less wear on my thread that way. I have my cute little Mighty Bright light and I just clip him right to the scroll frame. So that's one of the best. I love that I can, you know, I don't have to have a big light coming over. I can just have my cute little Mighty Bright light here and clip him right to the frame. He's so light and everything, I don't have to, it doesn't add any weight to the frame. Okay, so that is stitching on the 8-inch. So let me switch over and grab a larger frame. Okay, so I got my 12-inch frame here. Again, got my Mighty Bright light. I'm going to just, again, hold it right up against me. And again, it's, you know, obviously a little bit longer, so I have to adjust the way I hold it. I am using 6-inch sidebars on both of these, so that makes it easy to reach the top scroll rod here when I'm holding it. Okay, so now that your fabric is scrolled up on the scroll rods and you're no longer touching it, and it won't get dirty, you can totally use hand-dyed fabric, which is amazing and so beautiful. And you don't have to worry about it getting dirty or anything, so you don't have to wash it at the end, because you can't wash hand-dyed, it'll bleed. So with the scroll frames, that will help eliminate the need to wash it at the end, so you can use all the beautiful hand-dyed fabrics that are out there. Okay, let me show you a little larger size this time. Okay, so I've got 18-inch scroll rods. Again, I'm using the 6-inch sidebars. Now, I always recommend getting scroll rods that are 2 inches, at least 2 inches bigger than the width of your fabric. You want to be able to have room in there to scroll it up and everything. So you can see I've got plenty of space on either side of my project here. Now again, I'm going to hold it up against myself, and while I'm stitching, again, one hand will hold and one hand will stitch. Now this is kind of getting long, so you know, I'm probably going to want a pillow to just kind of support me as I'm stitching. Pillows are going to be one of your unexpected stitch gadgets that you didn't know you're going to need. I've even got one behind me just to help support my back and my shoulders. We want to be able to stitch for hours and hours and hours, and we need to be able to be comfortable to do that. So pillows are going to be your new best friend. We were in a live sit and stitch a while back, and we were talking about, you know, two-handed stitching and which hand you put on top and which hand you put on bottom. And somebody had said that they put their dominant hand on bottom because it doesn't need to be supervised. And the left hand does need to be supervised of what it's doing, so it has to be on top. I thought that was hilarious. Okay, so this is stitching on 18-inch Spro rods. So let me show you what it's like with 20-inch scroll rods. Okay, so I've got my 20-inch scroll rods here. Now, these are the size that come with the lap stand. With the lap stand, you get the 20-inch scroll rods, the 12-inch sidebars, and then the legs and all the other stuff that come with it. So you can see it is quite long, but it's not too bad to hold in hand. It's truly not. I could even put a pillow under here to maybe help prop it up, but with the pillow under my shoulder, I should be pretty comfortable to sit here and stitch. Now, if I was stitching in the middle, it would be quite comfortable, but if I've got a stitch over here on the side, I may want to put a pillow on this side to help me just kind of hold it, or just to help hold my arm while I'm stitching. I mean, like the thing I love about the legs is that they let you concentrate exclusively on stitching instead of you know, using energy to hold the frame. Now on this one, you'll see that I'm usually, I don't know, sometimes I'll switch back and forth. Sometimes my bottom hand will hold the frame like that, and then sometimes it will actually hold the like that, like the fabric like that. It's so funny because when I try and recreate stuff, I have issues with it. When I just sit here and stitch and talk normally, then I'm just doing whatever feels natural at the moment. I don't think about it. I scroll my fabric forward. That way, you know, if I do touch anything, or if I don't have my scroll rod covers, what's touching my stomach would be the back of my piece here. So the front of the floss is all protected and not getting squished down if I didn't have scroll rod covers. And it's not getting dirty by rubbing up against me. The front's not getting dirty by rubbing up against me, it's the back. Which is fine because we're not going to see the back, we're going to see the front. That's what we want to protect. So you can see it is quite easy to hold. This is 20-inch. I would say anything more than 20 inches, you would definitely want legs. So let me show you. Let me show you a 30-inch without legs and show you how I would hold it if I did it in hand. I've got the 30-inch scroll rods here. Oh my gosh, you guys, look how big it is. Look how long it is. So it is definitely going to be a little wonky to hold. It's much heavier. I mean, it's not 30 pounds, but it is significantly heavier than the 20-inch scroll rods. So I'm definitely going to need my pillows. I'm probably going to move this pillow here. I am working on the far side here, so I'm going to need these pillows to hold up this side of the frame while I stitch over here. Now, because I am holding it up, I feel like my attention is kind of taken away from my stitches, and a lot of my movement is now on holding the frame instead of stitching. It's going to take me longer to do each stitch because now I'm moving, you know, instead of keeping my hands where the stitches are, I'm moving them to the scroll rod to hold the frame. So if I had legs on, my hands would stay right by the stitches and I could just sit there and stitch. You know, I wouldn't have to worry about moving my hands every stitch to hold it. So with this, myself, I'd only be able to stitch 10 to 15 minutes before my arms would be like, yeah, no, this is uncomfortable. This is too much. So let me show you what it's like to stitch with the lap stand. Okay, so now I've got my 30-inch scroll rods on legs. This makes it so comfortable. I don't have to worry about holding the frame at all. The legs totally support it. All I have to do is worry about stitching. I can move the lap stand to any position I need it to, depending on where I am on the project. And you know, again, the pillows are now only for support of my arms and shoulders and stuff. So let me show you how I stitch once I've got it on the legs. Oh, also, you know, it really does depend on your couch of where you position the legs, the frame on the legs. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes that you can choose from. So it depends on, you know, how fluffy or smushy your couch is. I had a couch that was super smushy, and so I'd have to put it up high because the legs would sink in. So it's kind of, you know, just play with it and learn what level you need to have your legs at. So again, my all of my attention now is on stitching. I feel like I can stitch faster because I don't have to worry about holding the frame, you know, instead of my hand now moving up here to hold it, my hand stays in place and I don't have to move my hands at all. And my arms aren't moving like hardly at all. It's mainly my wrists, maybe my forearm, and my fingers and hands. So it's much less fatigue on my arms with not holding it, of course. Again, I feel like my stitches are much neater when I'm stitching two-handed because my thread is going straight up and straight down. So I think my stitches are much neater. So I want you to notice what position my neck is in while using the lap stand compared to when I show you the floor stand. I am totally looking down when I'm doing this. You know, I had some neck problems a couple years ago, and the doctor was like, well, don't look down. And I'm like, how can I look down? I've got to stitch. And the floor stand totally helps with that. Once I put this floor stand in front of me, my chest is lifted up, my neck's lifted up, and I'm stitching forward. So let's watch for that when I show you the floor stand. One quick tip I want to show you about the lap stand is where the frame is attached to the legs is a screw. Now you want to make sure you unscrew it with your screwdriver every time you go to flip over. Otherwise, you're going to strip out this bolt, or even you'll strip out the knobs. Then you can swing it over, slide your thread under, swing it back, and then put it in that position that you want it in to tighten it down. And then again, with your screwdriver, you can simply tighten it down, and then it will stay in that position. When I'm stitching, I truly put the entire weight of this arm, my top arm, on my frame. And I don't want my frame being all loose and stuff. So with my screwdriver, I can tighten the frame really tight down to the legs so it doesn't move, so that I've got a lot of stability while I'm putting my arm on here and stitching. But let's show you the floor stand. Okay, so now I've got my floor stand here. This project is 24 inches, which is the shortest the floor stand goes. It can go all the way up to 48 inches, which would be probably as long as this couch. But again, so you see how, what I was saying when I was doing the lap stand, how I'm sitting up and now I'm kind of looking forward to my project. I've got the arms here and the elbows positioned in such a way that it brings it forward towards me and it's up, so I'm not looking down. So I've got my pillows, again, my lovely pillows to help support my arm. One of the best things about the floor stand is how it attaches the scroll frame to the arm. It's got dual knobs, so you can just twist them both, so no need for a screwdriver. So then you can just twist them together. It'll lock it in place. Because again, I am going to be resting the entire weight of my arm, my top arm, on the frame, and I don't want it to keep moving. But with the knobs, and I've got the metal knobs on here, I can still flip it all the way to the back and then all the way forward and then tighten it down in place so it doesn't move, so it can hold the entire weight of my arm. So I make a working copy of my pattern so I can highlight what I've done. I will simply just clip it right here with my Mighty Bright Light right onto my scroll frame. We will be coming out with a chart holder that attaches to the crossbars that you can bring it forward in your patterns right there. Because I am using the scroll rug covers, I will clip my highlighter just right to the elastic along with a retractable scissor keeper right to the elastic, so then I don't have to find them and they don't get lost in the couch cushions and stuff. So let me show you how I stitch using my floor stand here. Okay, so I am resting my left arm just completely on the frame here. I mean, and it feels much better on my neck by not looking down, by looking forward. So that's definitely helping me. I mean, we want to be able to stitch for hours and hours and hours, right? So we need to be able to be in the most comfortable position for stitching, you know, that's not going to cause neck strain or back strain or anything. And so with the floor stand for myself, I totally get that because my neck definitely does not like looking down with the lap stand. I used the lap stand for years. As you know, I've said in older videos, you know, I found American Dream products a good 25, 28 years ago and just loved it. And when we found out they were closing, you know, I talked to Darren and I was like, we cannot let this company close. So, you know, we bought all the Easy Stitch products and, you know, they are just totally booming now. I absolutely love it. And then about a year and a half ago, we premiered this floor stand. Actually, my husband designed it. He, you know, I told him all the things I wanted. You know, I wanted something that I could put pressure on that wasn't gonna, you know, lose its tension over time. All that kind of stuff. You know, I wanted something super stable and adjustable. I totally wanted to be able to use the long bars on it because, you know, I myself have long projects that I want to do. I'm working on one that's got 42-inch scroll rods, you know. So I wanted to be able to have that adjustability. So when he came out with this floor stand, we, you know, so he came up with the floor stand and then I would use it and every couple of days he'd come back with an adjustment, you know. He'd be like, hey, try these new arms. He saw I had no place for my floss. So he put grooves in the arms to put my little floss bobbins. He saw that I was using my tweezers a lot. So he put little holes right here for tweezers. There's two right there. You know, one for tweezers, one for, you know, scissors or whatever. So it was super fun coming up with all the different, you know, additions till we were like, hey, we think this is it. And then you guys have just made it absolutely amazing. So I love the floor stand. And you can see it's just really nice and easy to stitch with, you know, even two-handed. again, my stitches are going faster because I don't have to worry about holding it. All I have to worry about is stitching, you know, and my hand can stay right by the stitches. It doesn't have to, you know, go up here to hold it or anything. And not only that, you know, gosh, can you imagine? Oh my gosh, stick and stab, I would last like 5 minutes. All that movement instead of just holding your hand in place with two-handed stitching. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, well that is it for this week's video. I hope that's giving you just a little bit of information on two-handed stitching using our Easy Stitch scroll frames. Head over to my needlework blog on Embroidery.com where I will have close-up pictures of my technique and how I do it. Make sure you have your notifications turned on, as that's how you'll know a new video is up. And as always, I'd love to hear your comments and suggestions, so leave those for me below. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Happy stitching, and I'll see you next time.